Hey guys, if you're enjoying the content that I'm making, please click that subscribe button. Also remember to click that bell button and make sure to tick that box to send all notifications so you don't miss out on any videos. With that in mind, let's get on with the video. What's up guys, welcome to Munchkin's Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkin's logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And welcome to my video guide for Sherlotta's character event. This is of course for her Cosmos fight, Someday Never Comes. Now before we do start, I would just like to remind you guys, if you haven't already, to make sure to subscribe to my channel. I am trying to reach that 1,000 subscriber goal by the end of the year, and hopefully you guys will help me out to reach this goal. And of course, leaving a like and leaving a comment will help this channel out as well. So without further ado, let's start this video. And of course, we are going to be starting off with the weaknesses, the resistances, and the abilities of the last boss, which is the Spineclad. Now, the Spineclad has a weakness to the water element. It does not have any resistances, and as for its abilities, it has Fire, which is a Fire Magic Brave attack, which will turn to Fyra basically from level 50 and Firaga from level 90. Next up, it has Tail Hammer, which is a melee HP attack. Next is Fire Breath, which is a group Fire Magic Brave attack. Spear Ray, which increases its Brave when its Brave is less than its initial Brave, and will do a 9-hit group Magic Brave attack plus group HP attack. Each Brave attack hits basically the characters that you have randomly. Next is Charge, which it grants itself a max Brave up, an attack up, a defense up, initial Brave up, speed up, critical hit rate up to itself, and it increases its Brave. Next, it has Scatter, which increases its Brave and will do a magic Brave attack, which can also inflict an attack down, and a speed down, and a poison debuff. Now, it also has the plus version of this, and it's basically just a much powerful magic Brave attack. Next is Sword Tail, which is a group melee Brave attack. This has a higher turn rate when inflicting a break or attacking a character that is already inflicted with break. Next is Breath Barrage. It increases its Brave and will do a Fire Magic Brave attack. This also has a high turn rate. Next is Tail Crush, which increases its Brave again and will do a melee Brave attack, and it will also remove the target's buffs, frames excluded. Next up, there will be a small text which it will say lost its temper. This basically will raise its attack, defense, speed, initial Brave, and its max Brave. This is a overall buff and there is nothing you can do about it. It will activate at a certain HP percentage. Finally, there will be another text at a certain amount of HP percentage, which it will say Sweeping Tail widely. This further raises its attack, defense, speed, initial Brave, max Brave, more than lost its temper. Now, it's also important to note that the Spineclad does not have any immunities to debuffs, so you can apply any debuff that you want, and of course the biggest ones are going to be like turn rate down, poison, sap, and paralysis. Most of those things that you can apply to the boss is going to help you out. Okay, let's take a look at some general tips and guide, and the first one is to save about, again, 60 to 70% of your abilities for the last boss. Basically, this is more for newer players. You do have to try and save as much of your abilities as you can. The boss does have a decent chunk of HP. However, if you are a veteran player, you probably will blitz through this pretty much with a couple more of your abilities intact. Next is to bring in the boosted characters. In this case, it will be Sherlotta, Rydia, Seymour, and Leon as well. If you don't have any of these characters built up, other characters that you might want to consider are the Warrior of Light, Cloud, Ace, Sephiroth, Vayne, Setzer, Noel, Lael, Ash, Renoa, Shantotto, Lightning, Golbez, Terra, Ramza, Pain, Noctis, Jet, Ida, or Sarah. And as for the healers plus Brave battery options, you do have an option between Ram, Selfie, Maria, Eiko, Lena, Yuna, Param, Aerith, or Cade Sith. And of course, now that we have Sherlotta will be added in this section in the near future, in basically my next video, for the next event. As for the summon, you do have an option between Ifrit, Shiva, and Ramu. Now, Leviathan is actually an option as well, seeing that the Leviathan Ultimate Fight will be coming in the near future. Now, once you have leveled that up to 30, you have that option to actually use Leviathan in this fight as well. You can still use him at level 20, but I would suggest using the other 3 because it gives you more buffs for your party. Okay, so with the general tips out of the way, let's take a look at some strategy that you might want to implement in this fight. The first one, of course, we're going to talk about the friend support. You do have an option between Quistis or Setzer for your friend support. Of course, another Sherlotta wouldn't be bad as well, but honestly, delay, freeze is my next tip for you guys. Basically, if you want more delay, Quistis is the better option, if you feel like freeze is a much better option since it basically stopped the boss for basically 2 turns, then you have an option with Setzer as well. Also bear in mind that even though Setzer is in a lesser degree can delay, Setzer can still do a pretty damn good job at delaying the boss. Now, my next tip for you guys is to not get broken. I know this sounds kinda stupid because you don't really want to be broken to begin with, but in other times you just feel like you can blitz through this fight and basically run through this fight and do not have to worry about getting broken since you can break it back and such. However, the boss does have a lot of attacks that has a high turn rate, especially when you get broken. And trust me, you don't want to be part of that, especially if you are a much newer player. You're gonna have to try and play it safe as much as you can. Now, my final tip for you guys is to use the debuffs such as paralysis, sap, or poison, and all the other kinds of debuffs that you can think of. Paralysis in one case is basically a good debuff to apply to the boss to avoid the charge attack. However, this will only extend your turns before it unleashes it. Now, on the bright side, it will lose all its buffs when it gets paralysis. So, I guess there is a silver lining at the end of that tunnel. Okay, so now that I have given you guys my strategy and my tips into how to conquer this fight, let's take a look at some possible party compositions that you can use to beat this fight. The first one is going to be the boosted team, which can be made up of between Sherlotta, Rydia, Seymour, and Leon. And this is with a Quistis support, and again, you do have an option between the 3 summons and plus or minus Leviathan as well, in case you're watching this and Leviathan Ultimate Fight is already out and you have leveled up your Leviathan to level 30. It is also an option. Now, between these 4, honestly, Seymour I feel like is the weakest link. The only reason you would bring Seymour in this fight is to basically apply the debuffs when the boss is charging up. Other than that, I do not see any reason why you should be bringing Seymour, especially when Sherlotta has her EX available, and of course Rydia if you pulled for Rydia's EX as well, and of course Leon's EX is also currently available at the time of this recording in one of his banners. Now, the next team that I have for you guys here is basically Ramza, Noel, and Setzer, which is what you guys saw previously in this video. Again, I'm trying to emphasize the delay tactic in this one, so for the most part this is using that strategy. Now, another team that you can try out is Sherlotta, Lael, and the Warrior of Light. And this is with a Quistis support and a Shiva summon. Now basically the Warrior of Light will defend you from any incoming attacks, therefore will be protecting you from a lot of the brave damage that the boss can inflict. Now there is that Spear Ray that will still inflict HP damage, but if you have the Warrior of Light EX, it's more than enough to recover the HP loss that you got from the damage. Now this is again more of a delay type of strategy because you do have Quistis here, but Lail is there for the launch strategy as well, seeing that Sherlotta is a good Brave battery and the Warrior of Light is a very good Brave battery as well. You will be launching and dealing a ton of HP damage. Now the final team I have for you guys here is the Warrior of Light Noctis Noel with a Setzer support and a Shiva summon, and this is going to be just like any other past 2 videos I've done. This is pretty much an overkill party. You have delay, you have Noctis, best DPS right now, at least until Chaos comes around, of course. But overall, I feel like this is a very good team to use if you are struggling. Alright, so we are coming to the end of this video. Well, of course, I'm going to be giving you my final thoughts on this fight. In all honesty, this is the end of the Cosmos era. A lot of the fights that we are having right now are much of a breather, and they are much easier, especially for veteran players. Now, I'm obviously speaking from a veteran point of view that this fight is quite easy. I wouldn't really have any troubles with this, especially when delay is such a powerful strategy currently in the Cosmos era. I don't know how effective it will be in the Chaos era, but in the Cosmos era, the delay is just super effective. Now, if I'm looking at this as a newer player, there are certainly things that will make this fight hard. The first thing is the 9-hit group magic brave attack plus HP attack, which is the Spear Ray, is probably the one thing that will do a ton of damage on your party. You have to make sure when it's targeting all that you have enough brave for everyone else, or else you will be taking a lot of damage. And of course you can negate this by bringing a healer as well, but that will basically make your turn count a little bit higher. However, we do have a fair few options when it comes to healers that can basically save you some turns. Obviously, something like Yuna and Aerith will use up more turns. If you did pull for Sherlotta, then Sherlotta can do a decent amount of healing as well, especially if you have max limit broken all her weapons. The other thing is, of course, that the boss actually has a fair amount of chunk of HP, which I feel like it is quite a lot more than your average one boss. So I guess that can be a little bit difficult. In that department as well. You might run out of abilities, which is usually the biggest problems for newer players. You do tend to run out of your abilities since you don't hit as strong as obviously all max limit broken characters if you don't have any of those. But overall, I think this is quite a fair fight. There is only one boss. Try to use the delay tactic and you should be fine. Anyway guys, I think I will have to end the video right here. Please remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. Again, I am trying to get to that 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and hopefully you guys help me out. And of course, follow me on Twitter and on Facebook as well at Munchkins Gaming. Remember to leave down in the comment below as well which team you use to actually beat this fight. It is quite interesting to find other people making different kinds of party compositions. And yeah, that's it for this video. This is Munchkins logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.